Welcome to Love from Above, hosted by your Sibling Spirit Guides. I'm Brian, and with
And
me,
I'm more,
my sister Maureen. So great to have you here. Um, so Maureen, let's just tell the story about the background here. So this is something that sort of we sort of interesting story of how this all started. And you were visiting my house in Austin, Texas. And why don't you tell us what happened during that visit last summer?
well, let me begin by saying it was a huge surprise. And I am psychic. I've worked professionally as a psychic and experienced many mystical events, but this was certainly memorable. And I was standing in your kitchen, I'll never forget it. And I was explaining to you how I feel very connected to Thoth. For those of you who don't know, Thoth is the Egyptian god of writing and wisdom. He was the one who spread writing to the Egyptian people. And I just felt this really deep connection to him. And as I was explaining this to you, all of a sudden, the smoke detectors in your house started going off randomly. And so, why don't you take it up from there? Because this was quite unusual.
Right. So it was on multiple levels and they would occasionally go on and then go off. And it was like on the second floor, on the first floor. And I know I just replaced all the smoke detectors with these smoke detectors that had 10-year batteries. So I knew it wasn't a smoke detector. I knew there wasn't any smoke, or looked around and it was like, what is going on? And so we're trying to figure this out. Um, and so then I think is you decided, oh, I think someone wants to talk to us, and that not that you
I
normally do.
knew it was I knew it was Toth because
Yeah.
actually there was one other time that smoke detectors were used. That time it was in a hotel to communicate with me. So that had happened to me before. And I just said to you, this is Toth, and he's communicating with us. And I just thought at first, when the smoke detectors were going off, that he was saying, hey, yes, I'm here, I'm with you. And they just kept on going off and off and off. And Brian's beautiful bride, my darling and loving sister-in-law Janine, was working, and she was like, which I can totally understand. And so you went to go check the smoke detectors, and it was crazy. I mean, a smoke detector would go off, but when we were beneath it, and then go um, on again and a different location. And at that point, I just said, I think I need to channel. And so when I used to work professionally as a psychic, I wouldn't pull tarot cards. I would just call in my clients' guides and just channel and relay the information that their guides wanted them to know. And so the first thing I did is I pulled tarot cards, and I still remember the tarot card I pulled. It was a magician. And then for the two of us together, it was the Six of Cups, which was perfect because the Six of Cups pictures a brother and a sister in a loving embrace, exchanging flowers, and it represents that kind of familial love. And then I channeled from Toph, and that was that was a surprise. And one of the things Toss said to us was that he wanted us to start working together. There was something about our energies created a wheelhouse together, and that we needed to work together, which we both agreed to, but kind of fell to the wayside. So, do you want to say anything more about what happened with that first session with me
Yeah.
channeling?
Yes. Right. So, and I'm thinking, so, I would say I have some intuitive skills, more like feeling, but I'm have like a corporate job, and I'm like thinking, how am I involved in this? They want me and you to work together. And I'm like, what is this going to look like? I couldn't really envision how this was going to work. But, I was open to it and looking forward to seeing how this would develop. And so then you started channeling. It was pretty much a regular basis, almost daily, wouldn't you say? And it's something like you said you've learned to do.
Well,
Um,
first, what happened is they had said that they wanted us to work together on a regular basis, and we didn't do anything. We both said yes, 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 but I
oh,
travel
that's
the
right.
world. I travel the world continually as a nomad. My brother works for a corporation. He's married. He's got 3 children, and so life got in the way. And we both said yes, we'll work together. And I got a message from Toth, and he said, "Hello, like we're not joking here. Like we really need the two of you to work together. This is important." And so then I said to Brian, I said, we really need to do this. And you said, yes, let's do it. And then this was a beautiful synchronicity because we planned a date to do the first channeling, and neither one of us realized it was the fall equinox. And not only was it the fall equinox, but I was in Cusco, Peru, which I'd been to before. And I'm telling you, I think that that's a portal. It's just really a deeply mystical and magical place. And I still think that that's such a beautiful synchronicity that our first session was with, was on the fall equinox in Cusco.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
And then on that first session, I expected to hear from Toth. That's what I thought we would hear from. And
Right.
instead, we heard from this group of star beings who they said we could create any name. Did they say did they tell us to call them Aura?
I
I don't
think they
remember.
said they didn't really have a name, but we could,
Right,
if we wanted to assign a name, we could call them Aura.
right. And so I started channeling every day from this group of star beings called Aura, and they had what did they call it? A scientific study between um, male female pairs throughout the universe where
Right.
love was like there was just love. And I think that that is definitely true. Like between my brother and I, there's only love. Like I never feel there's no resentment or jealousy or irritation. Like there's just love. And so they had selected us as one of these pairs. And so that was a total surprise. Like I expected to hear from Tom. And this has been from the beginning of the journey to where we are now. Like it's just been a constant surprise. And the reason why we're doing this is because it's absolutely revolutionized, I think, both of our lives. And I don't think either one of us thinks that this information is coming through for just my benefit and just my brother's benefit. So we're hoping with this podcast to share it with y'all.
Right, exactly. And so we got some guidance. So one other thing to note, so we we got a lot of sessions with Aura, but also all sorts of other beings. We'll go into that later, but it wasn't just Aura. So we've got a lot of different sessions from different people or different entities, I should say. And so a lot of really interesting information and, a lot of information that just isn't um just readily available to people. So yeah, if you would have told me, 9 months ago that I was doing a podcast on from, some channeled beings, I would be like, no, that's not happening. So, it's definitely, but that's life. There's, and I'm very open to things, so I'm just going with it. But this is where we are. We've been told to channel, and I've been told to share this via podcast. So, um, hopefully, you know, others could learn or get something out of this. So this is what our goal is. We're not looking to, sell anything, or we're just trying to share some information. Um, and so along that lines, I guess one of the first major topics that Aura spent a number of sessions covering with us was mathematics, which is sort of, we found very interesting because both my sister and I are not, I guess, very mathematically inclined, even though our dad was and was a professor of engineering. So let me just read this one quote. Maybe in future sessions we'll include, if we can, some of the audio from the sessions, but this was one of the first sessions. They said numbers are the language of the universe, which your computers have discovered. To access the prime numbers is to access the energy of the creator. Prime numbers are indivisible. The creator cannot be separated from his or and her creation. The numeric digits that foundationally create this world go unrecognized by your kind. To recognize the source of power is to recognize the creation of all human life. So anyway, what were your first thoughts, Maureen, when we started to get some of this information about mathematics?
Again, just another turn that was a total surprise, just a total surprise. And so I'm a writer. I write every day. And so that is definitely not something that was my strong suit. But the information, as you just read from that paragraph above, I mean, it's startling in its significance. And I remember one of the things that they said was that actually that our lack of basic knowledge in these very advanced mathematical formulas was actually a blessing. Like we could kind of see things more clearly than some of the advanced experts who might have been working on prime number theorem for decades. Um, so yeah, it was a total surprise, but it also makes sense. Like if you think about it, prime numbers are indivisible, and so is the one, the creator, the all.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's a lot more that we could talk about as far as the numbers. They go into all sorts of specifics, and so I think that one of the things that I want to talk about is, something interesting. I want to share, sort of a main topic, then maybe something interesting that we learned from some of these channeling sessions. And so one of the things related to this was how, they said numbers are the basic foundation for all life forms. And so, um, and each planet, there's a numeric code that represents the basic life form. And so on our planet, Gaia, the numeric code is 23. And so they asked us to contemplate these numbers and in our own meditations to see numbers in numeric form and look for them throughout our lifetime. So I thought that was really interesting that 23 is the numeric code for Earth and Gaia. So what was your thoughts when you were told that?
Well, I remember you saying that that was Michael Jordan's number, and I was like, "Well, is that a synchronicity?" You know?
That's the first thing I thought of, Michael Jordan. So it's interesting. And of course it's a prime number, but I was like, wow, 23. I don't understand all that goes into that. And if it's how 23 is, I don't understand the what's everything behind that, but it's, yeah, obviously there's a lot more to it. But
The big thing that I think impacted my life early on, and if you remember, they were absolutely insistent about this, is they said that we have to connect for 10 minutes a day, connecting, going outside into some part of nature with a crystal or a rock and connect to the earth and the heavens. And they said it was like charging a battery, the words they kept on saying is, it is required. It is required. is required. And Brian's fortunate to have a beautiful backyard in his home and that he utilizes a lot. But for me, uh, I'll be honest, I was resistant with that at first, but now it's become part of my practice. And I just really need that connection to Gaia and the heavens above. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was good when I in my home in Austin about doing that, but I've also, recently spent some time in the Midwest in the winter, and I stopped doing that. Obviously, I didn't want to be outside for 10 minutes in the cold. And do you remember they do come back and remind us of these things. And they said, okay, you don't have to do it for 10 minutes, but you have to at least put your foot even outside from the garage, step your foot into like the ground. It has to be, it can't be cement. It has to be actually be either grass or the dirt. And just put your foot there for a few minutes, and you need that for the charging. So it sort of grounds you, and it's really required. And it's harder for me when I'm in the winter in the Midwest to be able to do that, but I still try and do that. I'm not as, not spending 10 minutes, but I am trying to do that every day and at least um, do that grounding. So there's a lot of things we've learned from this, and that's another thing we just want to share with you, and hopefully, it helps all of you out there. And so those are some of the little tidbits that we hope to be sharing with you. So um, I think I want to keep this one just sort of, we want to keep these short and maybe do them on a weekly basis. Um, I don't think there's anything more, just talk about a couple different topics. Is there anything else you think we should share at this time, Maureen, or we think we're good?
I think we're good. And I just think I'm really grateful, obviously, to all those from above, beyond, below who have assisted us. And I'm grateful for you, my brother. And I'm grateful to every one of you who's listening to this. And I'm ready for whatever journey. What's going to
Right.
be 9 months from now? Who
Who
knows?
knows? Who knows? We'll find out. We'll find out. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey. We welcome all of you aboard, and we'll post a email address if you want to reach out and have other questions or something that or topics for us to discuss. But look forward to, future episodes, and thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. All right, signing out. This is Brian,
And Maureen, with love.
your sibling spirit guides. Thank you. Bye.